So if you know that you need a little bit of movement to come into presence, you could go to your back or even do some sun salutations. We're going to all meet in child's pose. And if you're okay with just starting right there, you can make your way to your mat, have your strap handy, and just come into child's pose with the toes together, knees wide, or knees together, resting your body completely on your legs, right? Okay. And in the child's pose, just see if you can let everything really unwind to the floor. Drop into the floor. I'm going to keep my head up just a little bit to be able to speak to you, but really feel your hips heavy settling into the floor. Really feel an opening through your back. Let your neck be long. And it's helpful sometimes when we focus on one area to just bring your attention there. And so sometimes you might hear a teacher say, breathe into your low back or breathe into your back. And we actually know that the breath doesn't enter the low back or the mid back or the cervical spine, but bring your attention there with the breath. So as you inhale and exhale, really focusing on the area that we'll be working with today. And take a few more rounds of breath. Let's go 4 more rounds of breath here. Really feel the breath expanding in all directions. And then you can press up to table and set your knees underneath your hips, your hands underneath your shoulders, and just begin to move through cat-cow. So on the inhale, drawing the chest forward, spreading your tail feathers, letting your belly reach to the floor, arching the back, and on the exhale, press into your hands firmly, rounding your back towards the ceiling and tucking your tail. Just a few rounds in a very linear fashion. Feeling through undulation in the spine. And then once you sort of warmed up with that, begin to circle your whole torso around. So the inhale will bring you in one direction and forward, and the exhale will bring you out to the side in the other direction. And your hips will move back towards your heels as you do this. So just think you're making a big circle with your whole body, and really take your time to have the exhale happen on one side as you push out to one side, and the inhale happen on the other side. So now, as you do this, the spine is getting to move in all directions, flexion and extension, a little bit of rotation, and lateral flexion and extension. And then change the direction of your circling. And again, let the breath be what moves, what carries the movement, what contains the movement. So the inhale happening as you press out to one side, and the exhale happening as you press out to the other side. And then coming back to neutral, just drop your hips back towards your heels, extend your arms out. You can tent the fingers here and feel the lifting of your arms. And with your hips towards your heels, just bring your hips to one side and then reach them over to the other side. Just a little swaying through the hips, right and left. And then come back up to table. Good. And then from table, reach your right leg back, turn the toes under, just feel the gastrocnemius. And keeping a neutral spine here, draw your navel up towards your midline. Just lift your right leg up. Toes point down towards the floor. And then reach the left arm out, thumb up towards the ceiling. So spinal balance. You could vinyasa this if you want. You could exhale and bring the knee towards the elbow, or you could just hold for a couple of breaths. We're just really firing up some of the bigger back muscles, kind of a full body here, back line firing up. And then you can take your left hand down, right knee down, reach the left leg back, turn the toes under, just open up the calf, and then lift, keeping the pelvis level, reach the right arm out, thumb up towards the ceiling. And again, you could vinyasa this if you'd like. We're going to do some more of this on our belly, or you could just hold, keeping the pelvis level, the hips level. Good. And then bring your hand back down to the floor, curl your toes under, press up and back, downward facing dog. And just pedal through your legs here. You can have your feet really wide here to begin with. And on your next inhale, just rock into a high push-up position and then back. And just get a little movement through the hips and the shoulders. Great, and then drop to your knees once again. And now just inhale your right arm up and exhale, draw it underneath your left arm. Just reach out towards the left and then spin, reach the right arm up, and just do a few gentle rotations here. Again, just some moving through some gross movement here, using the back. You could come down and hold this if you wanted to, but we're going to carry on and just take the other side. So inhale the left arm up, reach through the space and over to the right. And just a few more rounds here. Again, you could reach out and hold, bring your hips back if you want to rest in that position. Otherwise, just keep vinyasing and then bring both hands back underneath your shoulders. Take a few cat-cows again. Great. And then set your hips down on one side of your heels, swing the feet out and come to a seat. All right, this is where you might want your strap. So just in your easy seat in Sukhasana, resting your hands on your legs, just feel for, without fixing anything initially, just feel your posture here. Notice whether the shoulders round forward, head forward, and see if you can stack the back of your head over the sacrum. And then chin parallel to the earth. Great. Now bring your fingertips to the floor. And then just inhale the right arm up and out. And you might take a look here, looking for the arm coming straight out from your shoulder. And whether you tip the fingertips up is a little hard to see with my, because my hand is right at my background there. But keep the fingers pointing straight ahead. And then externally rotate, so palm comes up towards the ceiling. Fingertips of the left hand onto the floor, and then just inhale up and sweep over. You can bend into the left arm and back, and then drop that hand to the floor. Have your fingertips on the floor, so you're tenting your fingers. Reach the left arm up and out. Again, take a look and make sure that the arm isn't in the back body or the front body, but just straight out from your shoulder, parallel to the earth. And then turn from the shoulder, externally rotate. So you're not just turning at the wrist, turn the whole arm from the shoulder, palm up. Good, and hold that. Feel that work in the shoulders. And then inhale, sweep that arm up, and exhale, over. Inhale back to center. And we'll go back and forth just a few times, but take your time to really feel the structure of your shoulder and the shoulder blade in the back. Really feel what's working here to do this. We turn the palm up, inhale up, and exhale over. Arm comes out to the side. Rotate, externally rotate the whole arm from the shoulder. Inhale up and exhale over. And then once you've done just maybe one more on each side, come back to neutral, or come back to center. Okay, and then let's bring both arms out to the side. And again, check for level. All right. Externally rotate and bring the arms to a Y position. Draw the shoulder blades down and in so you have room in your neck. And then bend the right elbow and take your right hand to touch your the back, like you're patting yourself on the back, and then take your left arm over and you're going to stretch the tricep. So that's the back of the arm. So you'll stretch the tricep, so you'll kind of walk your fingers down and you turn around. With the bent arm, you're going to walk those fingers down. And then notice whether you're borrowing from your low back. If you are overarching the low back, can you draw the bottom ribs in, draw the navel in, and get just a gentle arch in the low back, and then turn your head towards the bent arm, towards the right arm. Good. Now this is one of those postures where you might use the belt. And I'll just have my back to you. You could have the belt in your right hand and hanging down, and have the bottom of the belt in your left hand. So if you need to pop up and look, if you're really tight in the shoulders, you might need the belt for this one. Yeah. Okay. Then you'll release back to the big Y. Feel for the even sitting and an even Y. Really try to get the arms evenly lifted. Good. And then you'll bend the left arm and pat yourself in the back. Take your right hand to the elbow, and you're going to draw that arm back towards the back body space, stretching the left tricep. Again, notice if you're compensating, if you're borrowing from your low back in particular, and then turn your gaze to the left arm. Just 2 more breaths. Release. And come back and just take your hands back to the floor. All right, we're going back to the right arm. So inhale the right arm to parallel. Externally rotate from the shoulder. Okay, and relax the left hand to the floor and turn the neck, turn the head away from the outstretched arm. So turn your head to the left. Reach the right fingertips away. Inhale the head back to center. Drop that hand. Reach the left arm out. Reach through your fingertips. Really feel length through the arm. Nice parallel. And then rotate, externally rotate from the shoulder. So the palm faces up towards the ceiling. And then you're going to turn your head away from the outstretched arms. So turn your head to the right. And then come back to center and drop your hands to the floor. Take a breath here. Good. And then arms back out to the side and to the Y. Cactus your arms with your palms facing in. Now take a look right and left and make sure that the arms are coming right out of the shoulders. You feel a little work in your shoulders right here. So upper arms are parallel to the floor. Forearms are perpendicular to the floor. Bring your elbows forward slightly. Feel the work in your shoulders and back. Notice if you're compensating from your low back and get a nice, just neutral lower back, lumbar spine. Draw the navel in, really access the core. And then you're just going to bring your hands forward and back up, keeping the elbows reaching forward. And let's do about 6 of these. Elbows are reaching forward, and you're just rotating the forearms forward. Palms are facing in towards one another. Good, and then release, just roll that out a little bit. Go back to the Y. Go back to cactus arms. Take a look, make sure that your arms are coming out there. So you don't have your elbows down. You have upper arm is parallel to the earth. Forearms are parallel to one another and perpendicular to the earth. And now bring your palms forward, facing forward like you're going to wave to me. And then elbows forward. You should feel that. When you bring the elbows into the front body space, you should feel that. And then you'll lower and raise. And we'll do 6 of these. And remember to breathe, and it doesn't matter, inhale, exhale here, just get a pattern. And then release. Roll the shoulders out a bit. Turn back onto your hands and knees. And holding the lower body at just a neutral spine, just allow your shoulder blades to come towards one another, really squeeze onto the back, and then press in your hands and draw the shoulder blades away from each other. So allow your chest to sink towards the floor. There'll be a bend in your elbows, shoulder blades come towards one another, and then press back and separate shoulder blades from one another. Let's do 6 more of those. So getting into the upper trapezius, the latissimus dorsi, and into the rhomboids, which are sort of underneath the trapezius, upper trapezius. Come to neutral now, turn your toes under, press your hips back and up, downward facing dog. Feel the length through the back, so from the back of your head to the sacrum is lined up. You could bend your knees here and really extend through your back body. And then on your next inhale, walk your feet up to your hands. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Take your hands back to the floor, step back to downward dog. Come forward into the plank. Again, the high push-up position. Really press the hands into the floor. Draw your hands towards your feet towards your hands isometrically. So when you press the hands into the floor, shoulder blades separate slightly, but then when you drag the hands back isometrically, you feel a little bit more engagement between the shoulder blades. Great, then drop to your knees and set your hips back onto your heels. Good, inhale, sweep up. So get the external rotation of the arms, reach the arms up so you're on your knees, standing on your knees. And then exhale, bring your hands to your sacrum and bow. Draw your navel up and in. Inhale, sweep the arms up, get that external rotation, palms face one another. And exhale, hands to the sacrum, palms out. Let's come into a little bow. And continue that pattern. Just maybe 4 more times. Notice if you overarch at the back, at the low back as you extend up. And then the next time you extend up, got a little frog in my throat. Next time you extend up, we'll just take the right hand to the low back and you'll bring your left arm out in front. So a little bit longer lever. As you inhale, draw your navel in. And exhale the left hand to the low back. Inhale, right arm up, palm faces in, and then lower. Touch your fingers to the mat. Inhale, draw the belly in. And exhale, that hand back in place. Inhale, left arm up. And as you lower to the floor, draw your belly in. The longer lever means you got to do a little more work in the core and the back. And let's do 1 more time on each side. Good. And you'll finish on your knees and then bring both hands out in front once again. Turn the toes under and press back to downward facing dog. Inhale to walk your feet up to your hands. Come into a halfway lift. Really lengthen through your back. And then bend your knees and sweep your arms up and come into Utkatasana, the fierce pose. Get in the frame here a little bit. We'll come into chair pose here. Good. Now, if you can, really have the hips back, the knees tracking over the second, third toe. So you're nice and solid in your stance. And then arms alongside your biceps, or your biceps alongside your ears, reaching the fingertips up. Good. We're going to swing the right arm back. Squeeze that shoulder blade in. And then inhale, bring the right arm back into place. And then on your next exhale, you'll bring the left arm back, right arm stays where it is. And then you'll inhale, left arm back into place. Inhale, exhale, bring the right arm back. Inhale, back. Inhale here. Exhale, bring the left arm back. Inhale, sweep it back into place. Let's do one more on each side. Your exhale brings the arm back. And your inhale sweeps the arm back. Okay, straighten the legs. Reach the arms up towards the ceiling. Draw the tailbone down towards the heels. And then set your hips back into Utkatasana one more time. Now bring both hands to your low back, interlacing your fingers. Maybe you can turn your wrist so that your pinky fingers are pressing into your low back. I've turned myself around to see if you could see that. Some of you might be able to come into the prayer position with your hands. But regardless, you might even be having to grab opposite wrist with opposite hand. And then begin to lift your arms off your back as you straighten your legs and fold. Straighten your legs to any amount. And lift your arms off your back. So draw your shoulder tops up. Let the weight of your head help you elongate through your spine. So you're in a big fold, and then you'll release your hands. Let your hands just sort of come down the sides of your legs. Take your hands to the floor and bring yourself back to downward facing dog. From your downward dog, you'll come forward to the high plank. Good. And then come to your knees and slowly lower down to your belly. All right, on your belly now, bring your arms out to make a Y. So palms down into the floor and your arms in a Y position. And just take a few breaths here. Feel your belly breathing into the floor. So we're gonna work asymmetrically first and then with symmetry. So you can rest your forehead on the floor. I'll just have my head raised so I can talk to you. Bring your left arm into cactus and let it relax. And then bring your right arm, whatever your shoulder permits. You know, some of us can have it straight out in front. You might have to have it a little bit angled out towards the right corner of your mat. And with your forehead on the mat, lift your arm and then lift your left leg. So the same thing we did on our hands and knees. And take a full breath cycle here before you lower, and then lower. bring the left arm into cactus, the right arm into cactus, extend your left arm out, lift the left arm, right leg. And we'll just go back and forth with that pattern. So bring the left arm back to cactus, stretch the right arm out in front of you, lift right arm, left leg. Release, and go back to the other side. So really feel for engaging the navel up and in and pressing your pubic bone into the floor. That's going to give you a lot of support for this. Let's do one more on each side. All right, and then we'll come back to center, and now bring your forehead to the floor and bring both arms out in front. And we'll try doing this with both arms. Okay, so we'll lift the arms, lift the head, but don't lift the chin up and close your throat down. Keep the back of your neck long. You could also choose to lift the legs here. And if you want to feel those hamstrings again, squeeze the legs together, ankles touching, big toes touching if possible. Keep the back of your neck long. Keep engaging navel to spine. Good. And then we'll release both arms to the side. Turn your head in one direction. Softly rock your hips back and forth. And then turn your head in the other direction. And softly just rock your hips back and forth. Or you could bend your knees here and do the windshield wiper back and forth action as well. And then coming back to center, we'll take cactus arms. So your head will be on the floor, forehead on the floor. I've just got my head raised so I can talk to you. And then your arms are in cactus position, and look for the wrists and the palms to be nice and flat. Okay, legs are straight behind. Elbows stay to the floor. Lift your forearms. And lower. Now you can kind of feel where that's firing up in your back. So can you bring your attention there and turn those muscles on between the shoulder blades? Then lift again. You probably won't get very far. And notice, like I just noticed in my hands, notice if you're just lifting your hands, your fingers up towards the ceiling. Keep the arms, the wrists and the hands in a straight position with the forearms, and then lower back down. And let's try 2 more of those. And once you've done those 2, you can relax back down and shake out your shoulders a little bit. All right, now turn, you keep your arms in the cactus position, but turn your thumbs up towards the ceiling. Thumbs up towards the ceiling. Okay, same thing. All right, really slide the shoulder blades down. Slide your shoulder blades down and in. Really feel that action between the blades. Okay, and then you're going to keep the elbows on the floor and lift the forearms. And release. Let's do 4 more of those, 3 or 4 more, holding for 1 full breath cycle when you lift. And let the rest of your, so even though we're working primarily between the shoulders here, really draw your navel in and press your pubic bone into the floor so the rest of your back body is supporting, right? And release. Good. You can let your shoulders relax for a minute, maybe take the feet and bend the feet and come back and forth. All right, and then we're going to come out to the side, arms straight out to the side. And again, check your arms, make sure they're coming straight out from your shoulders. Turn your thumbs up to the ceiling. Now, as you firm your shoulder blades towards one another and firm your arms, you probably feel your elbows lift off the floor, or try to. That's good. And then lift your arms up. Take a full breath cycle. And then on the next exhale, lower back down. And let's do a few more of those. So really firm everything. Firm the shoulder blades in and down. Firm the space between the shoulder blades. You'll feel your elbows lift, then lift your arms. And then lower. And let's try two more just like that. Okay. And then take a little breather in between. Come last one here in this little series. So now with the arms straight out in the T, you'll turn the thumbs down towards the floor. Thumbs down towards the floor. And now squeeze between the shoulder blades, like draw the shoulder blades in and down. This is accessing the rhomboids. And then you'll lift the arms up. And lower back down. And then lift the arms up. And lower back down. Let's do two more. Keep the tops of your feet pressing into the floor, pubic bone into the floor, navel draws up. Great, now take your arms just alongside your body, turn your cheek, one cheek to the mat. You can rock your hips here slightly back and forth. Take the other side. Great, now bring your forehead back to the floor. Arms are alongside your body. Draw your shoulder tops away from the floor. Now, as you do that, you should feel the shoulder blades work towards one another. So you keep that action there. Really engage in the muscles between the shoulder blades. And draw the shoulder blades down towards the hips slightly. And then lift the arms off your back. Squeeze the legs together and lift. Shalambhasana. Locust. So here, we'll take a couple of rounds here. Really engage your navel up and in. And you can play with, as you come back down, you could do this same position, or you could bring the arms out to a T. That's going to be a little bit more challenging. Or you can bring the arms out to the big Y in the front of your body. That's going to be the most challenging. So do a few rounds, maybe 3 times. Maybe you could take one in each position. One lift in each position. And then coming back down to the floor, just take a rest. And then with forehead into the floor, lift your shoulder tops away from the floor. Press your hands up towards the ceiling, palms up towards the ceiling. Lift your head and chest, bend through the elbows without touching the floor until you get your hands to your low ribs or underneath your shoulders, and then you can press up into table and back slowly into a child's pose. And we'll come back up to table. And now just walk your knees up towards your hands. Come to a seat, bring your legs through. All right, take the back of your legs with your hands and roll yourself down. Ah, good. And here you could bring your knees into your chest, or you could do some windshield wipers. We're gonna do a couple more things, but just take a little bit of time to support yourself if you need a little support in between the very static muscular work. Good. Great. Okay, then we'll bring our feet to the floor in a position of comfort. So the heels up towards the buttocks, and you're on your back and arms alongside. And let's just take a few dynamic bridges. So pressing into the feet and lifting the hips, bring your arms behind you, the backs of your hands touch the floor behind you, and then exhale to lower that all back down. Now, those of you that were in class on Monday, if you'd like to feel those hamstrings again, or those of you who weren't, next time you lift up, you could lift the toes and press into your heels. And then as you lift your hips, draw your heels back towards your shoulders isometrically. Now the hamstrings are really engaged in the action as well. And you could do that with the dynamic rolling bridge, or you could just hold this. Okay, we're gonna come to holding together. So just some options here for you. Great. Just a few more rounds and then we'll meet on our backs. Great. So now with your feet in close to your buttocks, let's lift the toes, everyone, and press into the heels as you lift the hips. Keep the toes lifted so you really feel the engagement of the hamstrings, and isometrically draw your heels back. Then slowly lower the rest of your foot to the floor. Press the back of your head slightly into the floor and take one shoulder blade underneath and the other, like you have a platform with your shoulder girdle. Interlacing your hands underneath, and you'll really feel now the work. The arms are extended straight, so the triceps are working. You're squeezing between the shoulder blades. You've got the QL working, the big lower back muscles that we talked about with the lateral sheath. So just like the diagram, we got all these back muscles at work here. Keep lifting the hips, pressing the arms. The pinkies could be extended. You could press the outer arm, the outer line of the arm into the floor. If you wanted to do a little extra work, you could heel toe one foot to the midline and reach the opposite leg up. Lower, heel toe the other foot to the midline, reach the other foot up. And even though I didn't cue for a block today, if you're depleted or you need this to be more of a supportive opening, stick a blocker underneath your sacrum and rest your sacrum on that block. We'll come out together, bringing the arms up towards the ceiling. Lift the heels now. Chin away, so keep the natural arch in your cervical spine, your neck spine, and then lower down one vertebra at a time. Really feel each vertebra touching the floor as you come all the way back down. Hard to get into the lower, feel those lower ones for me. And here, instead of pulling your knees in, extend your legs long. Just take a full breath here. And then if you need that Apanasana or some kind of squeeze in, you could do that. We'll cross the ankles and rock up to a seat. Take your time if you get a little dizzy there. And then we'll come into that reverse table. So fingers pointing away. Get the arch, the neutral arch in your low back. And then you'll press and lift. Now, you could stay with the knees bent. That's just fine. If you want to play with extending the legs, you could try one, the other. Got to get back on my mat here. It's quite challenging to have both legs extended. You could come back to the floor and just extend the legs out slightly. Creep your feet out, lift. A lot of work in the hamstrings. Wherever you are, we'll lower back down to the floor. Extend the legs out. Turn the thighs internally, so inner thigh down towards the floor, so you kind of spin the thighs down towards the floor. Hands behind you. Find that neutral arch in the low spine and the lumbar spine. Great. And then walk your hands up towards your thighs, towards your hips. So the Dandasana. Draw your toes back towards your shins and heels into the floor, and isometrically pull the heels back, and then just a little bit of a forward fold. Now keep the right leg where it is and bend the left leg and bring your left foot to the outside of your right leg. And you want to keep the arch in the low back, so you might have to have your hands back behind, which is fine. And then we're just going to turn to the bent leg side, a little rotation, a little twist to the bent leg side, the left leg. And we'll slowly unwind, bring the hands behind, legs straight, get that arch in the back, leave the left leg long, bring the right leg. So you bring your heel right up towards your buttocks, and you could be sitting up on something here. It's almost like you're gonna do a half squat here. So nice long spine, and then we'll come around and just grab the outside of the right knee with the left arm and twist to the right. And then unravel yourself, take both legs long again, hands behind, find that nice anterior forward tilting pelvis here. One last time, we'll come back to symmetry. Just take a little baby fold. And then you can bend your knees, slide your booty towards your feet, take the back of your legs as you lower down. Take whatever else is being elicited in your body before you come to final Shavasana. When you get ready to come to Shavasana, go into Shavasana in that same space that you did the static movement. So we're very intentional with a lot of movement today, very specific. So typically in Shavasana, the legs are long and the feet fall out to the side. Arms are alongside the body but not touching the body, palms up. So when you can feel, you can play with that a little bit too. So with the palms up, I have more of that external rotation in the shoulders, opens me up across the heart space and collarbones. It's a more vulnerable position for sure, and you might just explore that for yourself. So I can personally say that I would never do Shavasana like this at the beginning of my yoga practice. I always brought my hands to my tummy, a little more protective for me. If you need to do that, that's fine. But play with that external rotation so you can press into the back of your head and draw your shoulder blades underneath and palms up, arms out to the side, much more of an open and vulnerable position. And then relax your eyes, the muscles around your eyes. In between the brow, the mental grasping. And just let everything now just go. Be supported by the earth. Let everything fall away. So I quote Brene Brown a lot. She's one of my favorite persons in the world, speaker, philosopher, social scientist. And she talks about strong back equals a open front or a soft front and an open heart. And when we strengthen the back body, we support the front body, the heart space. And I think about this practice as a springboard to the rest of our day, how we travel through the day. So this is from Pema Chodron. Every day we wake, we have the opportunity to ask ourselves, today am I offering peace to the world, or am I going to war? And you could replace the word peace with love, openness. Do I have that strong back to support a soft front, an open front? Am I offering peace to the world today, or am I going to war? So you might bring your hands now to your heart center. You could stay in Shavasana, or I'll move up to a seat. And bringing your hands together in prayer, a position that works for you, either palms together or palms on top of one another on the heart space. May the merit of our practice, may the hard work that we do serve others. May it be a way of opening ourselves so that we can help others open to the brilliance that is within us all. Namaste.